Welcome back. In this module, we'll study about the fertilization. In the previous class, we studied about the pollination. Pollination means transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of the same kind of flower. And in that pollination, we have two parts of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Two types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. If the pollination occurs in the same plant, we call it self-pollination. When the pollination occurs in different plant, we call it cross-pollination. And the next step is that what is fertilization? Fertilization is the process of fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to an embryo. It is known as fertilization. Once again, the process of fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to an embryo is called fertilization. Male gametes and female gametes, when they fuse together, fuse means when they combine together, it forms an embryo. The male gametes and female gametes, they fuse together, and this is the zygote. What is zygote? It's a cell structure formed from a fusion of male and female gamete. This zygote develop into embryo, and this embryo develop into an organism like plants, including animals. Once again, male gametes and female gametes, they are the sex cells. They fuse to form zygote. This zygote develop into embryo, and this embryo develop into an organism. If it is animal, it will develop into animal, and if it is plant, it will develop into plant. For example, male gamete and female gametes of these animals, they form a zygote. After zygote will develop into embryo. This embryo will develop into human. Same thing like plants, male gametes of plants and female gametes of plants, they form a zygote. After forming zygote, the zygote will develop into embryo. After embryo, this embryo will form into a new plant. I hope that you can understand. Once again, male gametes and female gametes, they form a zygote. This zygote develop into embryo. This embryo develop into an organism. Okay, we have few terms here. What are sex cell? That is, male and female gametes are sex cell. Fusion of gamete means formation of zygote, and zygote develop into embryo. Embryo develop into organism. Okay, I hope that it's clear that what is fertilization. Fertilization is a fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to an embryo. How does pollination occur? Due to some animals or plants, including the wind or water, the pollen grain transfer from anther to the stigma, from one flower to another, sometimes from the same flower itself. You can see here lots of pollen grain in the bee, which it carry from the anther and deposit in the stigma of other flower.